You are listening to the Techie Leadership Show with Bogdan and Andrei. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Techie Leadership Show. Today as guest we have Mikael Fredholm, the founder and chief of One-to-One Tribe. Mikael is a wellness entrepreneur and founder and CEO of a One-to-One Tribe. The goal of One-to-One Tribe is to create a global ripple effect by mobilizing inspirational thought leaders to help people live a healthier and more sustainable lifestyle, and as such have a positive impact on our planet. He previously built World Class to be the biggest fitness chain in Romania with 35 clubs and 70,000 members. Hello, Mikael, and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to add anything else about yourself?
No, that covered pretty much everything.
Well, one thing that I'm curious about is what motivated you to bring World Class to Romania?
Yeah, it was, as with most stories, it was completely random. I was working in Middle East for a Swedish Egyptian entrepreneur. His name is Rifat El Sayed. Quite famous, very successful entrepreneur back in the 80s. Then kind of his empire fell apart, and then he started building a new company. And that's where I came in and worked with him. So basically I was with him in Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia building pharmaceutical plants. So yeah, but fun for 3 years, but 3 years is enough. not the coolest industry, I must say, but yeah, I learned a lot. So anyway, by pure accident in Egypt, I met the founder of World Class, a Swedish former bodybuilder, really a cool, exciting, and great entrepreneur. So very, non-traditional entrepreneur. We sat by the pool in a hotel in Luxor, and we talked, and he offered me a job. And actually he offered me, and I'm quite sure about this, he offered me a job in Budapest, in Hungary, to open up his first fitness club there. So I accepted the job on a handshake. And this was in the fall 2004. So we agreed that I would come down in the beginning of January 2005. And so he sent me the plane tickets. Back then, it was, before the electronic tickets. So I opened a ticket and it said Bucharest, Romania.
I was expecting that one.
Yeah, it's a true story. And I called him, and I mean, he seemed pretty up in the clouds sometimes. I just told him, like, oh, thanks for your ticket, but you happened to buy the wrong ticket. He said, no. We always discuss Bucharest. So I said, okay, cool. So I packed my bags and I went down to Bucharest. So completely random.
And he was there, I guess.
Yeah, he was there. We met. I took a taxi from the airport to an address he gave me, and I was super excited. And he's a really good salesperson. So I expected like something pretty cool, kind of like a silver platter served, like a really cool experience. But when I came down, the first club was going to locate in Hotel Bucuresti, which is now Radisson. Well, when I came there, Hotel Bucuresti, and he told me we're going to open a club in a 5-star hotel. I thought the hotel was ready. But when I came there, the Hotel Bucuresti was a complete ruin. I mean, it looked like like he'd been under a rocket grenade attack. So, and he showed me the office. He was so proud, and the office was like a hole in the wall with no heating. This was January. It was like minus 20 degrees. So no heating. I had to go to the bathroom in the Hilton. And so every time I had to go to the bathroom, I sneak into the Hilton to go to the bathroom. And he just took off. So he said, Michael, we're going to open the club in about 3 months. So just kick ass and start pre-selling memberships. And then so I was sitting in this dark office, like with a laptop, a fax machine, and that's it. And I was like,
no heating.
No heating.
Winter.
I was actually, luckily I brought my ski clothes. I put all my ski clothes on and a hat, and I was sitting there. And I was like, how the hell should I sell memberships? So, kind of Victoria was not as today, it was not busy at all. So I was like, Actually, I stop cars on the street and asked if you want to buy a membership in a club that we open a few months. So it was really tough. So I thought I did my biggest mistake of my life. But we opened the club, was a bit delayed. We opened the club after, I think, 5 months. And I actually sold, during these 5 months, I sold one membership to an Israeli guy that just all randomly came into the office one day. And he said, this sounds interesting. I want to buy a membership. And I said, yeah, just sign here, give me the money. He was a good businessman. So he said, he could tell I was quite desperate. He said, yeah, but I need some perks. I said, whatever you need, tell me. He said, I don't have training clothes here. I said, hold on. So I sat him down in this cold office. I ran down up to the Nike shop on Störbyvårda. With my own money, I bought a whole Nike outfit and a pair of sneakers. I ran down. I said, here's your clothes, sign the contract. And that was the first membership. So I mean, personally, I made a loss on that membership, but it was worth it. So we opened the club with him as the first member, and he was a member all the way. Actually, he passed away a few years ago, but he was a loyal member. Every year he renewed his membership. So the first member. And then world class, that was a start. And as soon as we opened the club, it became a big boast. So we started building that club. We started building a network of clubs. And became a successful fitness network.
Every journey starts with one step. Every membership account starts with one member.
Exactly. It's such a good lesson. It's a great lesson, and it was a super exciting journey for sure.
And now you're building one-to-one tribe.
Yep.
Which is also in the fitness space, but in the clouds,
virtual fitness space.
It is. So it was kind of a big step for me. First, going from building brick and mortar, very, very traditional business, building fitness clubs, to jumping on a technology startup. So it feels a bit like I'm sitting in that old dark room again, getting one user by user. Actually, we have 20,000 users now. So
you're more successful at selling memberships now.
It, as I say, it goes quicker with startups than brick and mortar, and then that's very true. So, but it's like down to basic, which I really enjoy. World Class became, a big organization. When I left, we had about 1,500 employees. Now we're back. It's me, my wife, and one more partner in the company. So it's just really rolling up the sleeves and starting from scratch again, which I really enjoy. And that gives me the biggest pleasure.
It's very important.
Yes, and it's great. And I'm really curious, like, from your leadership lessons that you've learned, how do they apply like in the tech space and how they work?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's get started. Like, what is the biggest leadership success story you witnessed personally?
Yeah, I haven't witnessed this personally, or maybe I have, but my biggest, to answer the question, Greta Thunberg. For me, she's my hero. I don't know, Greta, so let me explain who she is for the listeners who doesn't know who she is. So she's a Swedish girl. She's right now, I believe she's 70 years old. She started 3 years ago, taking some action about the climate. So she went on a school strike every Friday by herself, sitting outside the Swedish parliament. And you can go with some pictures. She's sitting completely by herself in the rain with a small sign that she's doing a strike for the climate. And now, I mean, she didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize today. I was really hoping for it, but she was one of the nominees. But now she has millions of followers, young people, and she's inspiring millions of young people to take action against the climate and also put pressures on the politicians and they so-called adults in the room in this world that don't do too much of the climate, in my opinion. So for me, she's my role model, starting from scratch and only with passion and a very strong belief, inspiring millions of people around the world to do something which, in my opinion, is one of the most important things we have today, and that is to fix the climate. So she's my hero.
Yeah. What I would ask you is, like, do you think it's due her drive and her motivation? And was she inspired by the Swedish educational system to do this? Is this something more common, or to take action and don't step by or accept like authoritarian leadership?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I do believe, without knowing her, that she would have done this action regardless of which country she was brought up in.
Okay.
She's quite interested. She has also have the Asperger syndrome, so she's very. As I learned with Asperger syndrome, is that you really get hooked on one thing, and her thing is climate change. Yeah,
Yes.
very focused. Yeah, and it's just incredible at such a young age to be so passionate. Just all them. She gets so many rewards. She wins prizes, millions of euros. She wins. And she donates everything to different causes for what she believes in. So it's such a selfless passion she has, and she sacrificed a lot of things. I mean, she's 17. She should enjoy being 17, and she does.
Exactly.
So it's just unbelievable what she's doing, I think, and it's should be a role model for so many people.
Yeah, and hopefully she's gonna be. And I would like to see like from younger generations to see leaders forming and doing stuff, not just in business, but actually to improve the life of everybody, because that's the job of a leader. If you are a leader in business, you're there to improve the life of everybody working inside that company. And if you're a true leader, you cannot stop. When you go home, you don't say like, I'm not a leader anymore.
No, exactly.
Because it's a skill set.
Yeah, it is. And it's so sad in a way, I must say that, in my opinion, the most important leader the world have today, she's 17.
Yes.
I think that's kind of sad. I hope it will change, but because her voice is strong, but it's tough to be 17 and to be extremely heard.
Well, in the past, it was way more common for very young people to take up positions of authority and power. Yeah. The best example that I always go back to is the first admiral of the U.S. Navy, who became a ship captain at 12. Wow. And commandeered an enemy vessel.
Huh, I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and it was very common if you check up on the history of maritime history, especially in the British Empire. It was very common for children age 7, 8, 9 to work as captain's aides and then officers and first officers. And by the time they were in their early 20s, they became captains of their own ships.
That's interesting. Maybe as a young person, you're open-minded. So,
but it's not just about the being young part. Is that nobody questioned the authority? What do you know? You're 7 or 8 or 9. It didn't matter, especially when it comes to life and death scenarios. It goes to prove that humanity as a whole, we don't care that much, so long as it's good advice and it's well structured and it comes from a place that wants our well-being. We don't really care where it comes from.
No, and that's a very interesting point.
It seems that age has been linked like with leadership only recently.
Yeah.
If you look like through history, you have lots of examples, really young people taking the leadership role and having people that were way older than them follow them and not questioning them or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true.
It's full of examples. Like the Trojan War, it was fought by 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. I think the oldest one was under 19. Yeah. And even the U.S. Revolution, George Washington, he was called the old man. He was the oldest and he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
The other leaders, they were 15, 16, 17, and they liberated the whole country.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I never actually reflected in this way, but that's super interesting. And maybe there's a change coming a bit.
Hopefully.
It wouldn't hurt, in my opinion.
Yes. No, I feel that nowadays the way the school system is structured and and you need postgraduate, and you need masters, and then you need PhDs. It feels like they somehow they are extending childhood indefinitely.
Yeah, true, very true. And we've been very indoctrined nowadays. This whole school system, which is another topic, but I don't agree at all with.
Even in Sweden, because the Nordic countries are praised for their scholastic achievements, especially Finland.
Yeah, Finland is great. Sweden is also good, but I think the whole system is it needs to be renewed. I think that the world is so different now from. I mean, even in Sweden they improved the school system, but it's not that different today than it was when I was young, which served good in the old time or before. But I think it needs to be a bit. Today the world is so different. And I think the school system has to reflect that as well. But that's a gigantic task to take on for any government or country.
Yeah.
And it's not built for creating leaders. Actually, school systems, they suppress leadership because you're perceived like a problem child. And you don't want to conform with everything. You want new stuff, and you want to improve everything around you. And all the teachers are, no, leave it as it is.
Like a very small afterthought and side note, also for you and for the listeners, if you're interested in learning about the school systems, how it came about, and schooling in general, just do a YouTube search for John Taylor Gatto, double T because it's Italian. Yes, and he was related to the US politician Taylor.
Okay, cool.
Okay, the guy won best teacher in the state of New York, I think twice, which is a very big achievement. And he was actually explicitly hired by high-level Chinese party members to structure a way to bring China into the new age. And he told them, listen, you cannot have innovation and keep authoritarian rule. But he said, but we want to. He says, good luck with that. It won't work. It doesn't work. You cannot embolden creativity in a fierce environment.
No, exactly. Huh, very interesting. I will definitely check that out.
Okay. And now closing this parenthesis, getting back, like, what is the biggest leadership failure you had the unfortunate experience of witnessing?
Yeah, I hate to see it because I hate to even get involved in politics. But for me, it's so clear now. It's Donald Trump. It's the biggest. I mean, it's such a. People are so tired about hearing this, but for me, it's so clear. I mean, the fact that, and for me personally, the fact that he's leaving the Paris Agreement, that he's spreading information not to trust scientists when it comes to climate change. I go about a lot about climate change, but that's the topic I'm burning on the most personally. So for me, that's a complete failure. Nothing comes close to it, in my opinion.
And from your experience, was there like a situation where you realized, okay, as a leader, I didn't do what I had to do, and you learned a lot from it? Did you have like an experience like that?
Yes, I would say every day. I mean, yeah. As a leader, you can, first of all, you can never stop learning, and you have to be, in my opinion, as a leader, you need to have your antennas really out all the time, because as a leader, it's all about people. It's psychology. So that you just need to keep learning. You need to interact with people. The more you interact with your people that you're leading, the more you're learning. I mean, as a leader, you're serving the people that you're leading. So you will do mistakes all the time. And maybe the biggest quality of a leader is to learn, because basically your job is to make the people that works for you or that you're leading, that they do the best job they can do. And that's a never-ending story. So it's just trial and error, and be really attentive to listen to them, to understand them. So I think it's every day you learn something, how to improve yourself to be a leader.
And that's, I think it's like the biggest kept secret of leadership is like you as a leader, it's actually your experience as a leader is a never-ending series of failures, small ones, bigger ones, medium ones, and just going with them and trying to improve constantly. And it actually helps the people looking at you because they also realize, okay, I may not be the best at my job, but I can improve also because.
And as a leader, you're a human being. I mean, I think so many weak leaders are trying to put this barrier that they're not human, they're perfect, they're
oh my God,
Aryan, I think it's called, but I mean, as a leader, you're completely human. All you want to do is to empower people, and so they can do the best possible job, and that's not easy. And it's like in a relationship. You same thing if you're married or girlfriend, boyfriend. You cannot be. You're never an expert in it. You have to be very attentive to keep growing because it's about psychology at the end of the day, and that's tough, and it changes, and it's so different from people to people. So you have to be very adaptive when you're leading people.
And Mikael, since you're saying like it's about psychology, and you said it several times, are you actually studying psychology to improve on yourself? Do you read books in psychology or stuff or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested in psychology. I was back at the university of debating if I should major in marketing or psychology, which also goes hand in hand. Yeah, but so I always be very interested in psychology. I'm really interested in human behavior. Which is leadership is about human behavior. Human behavior is really psychology. So yeah, it's a big passion of me. So to really understand what drives people, and that is useful as a leader. And I'm also really passionate about understanding what drives people to do a change, which comes back to my business, first in the fitness industry and now with one-to-one tribe. So it's really interesting to see what does it take for people to change, if it's the lifestyle or anything else. And that's a very
so
deep.
What does it take for people to change? Like if you have to give like the crib sheet, the notes to pass the exam on change, what does it take?
I mean, first of all, if we talk about lifestyle, which is my domain, or fitness, a lot of people put the bar too high. So of course, to change, you need to have an achievable bar, which you continuously raising. Same thing in leadership when you're leading people. You need to have a reachable bar all the time. So that's probably the first thing in a lifestyle change. Then I would say the most important thing, to have fun. If you want to change, doesn't matter what you're going to change, you have to enjoy it, to have fun. If you do it to drag it and not enjoy it, you will never change. And actually that's kind of the same in leadership as well. If you don't have fun at work, if you don't make the work environment fun, your team will not perform the best. So fun is a human driver. Yeah.
And with that, because we're like doing a segue with that, is what would you say is your leadership philosophy?
I'm all about empowering people. So I believe as a leader, you need to have a strong vision, and the vision needs to be really close to your heart. I mean, you need to believe in that vision as you don't believe anything else. So a vision is not something that can come in your lap. I mean, you need to be really close to your heart. And then to lead with that vision, and then to empower people, really step aside. I mean, your job as a leader, my philosophy as a leader, is to empower the people. So when you do that and they follow the vision, they do great jobs. Too often leaderships try to interfere and micromanaging, but I mean, that's not scalable. Yeah. So people are great, and people are absolutely great when they feel empowered. I mean, that's when miracles are happening.
And it makes the work environment to be fun.
Yeah.
Because...
and purposeful. I mean, it's when people get empowered, and if they first understand your vision, and then they have to believe in it as well, and that's fine. Some people don't believe in your vision, but then they're not the right person to work in that company. There's plenty of opportunities out there. But when they believe in the vision and they feel empowered, I mean, that's so liberating. Then the job becomes a hobby.
Just now I had like a sort of epiphany, because we discussed about change and how to do it, and then now we have discussed about leadership, and I said like the stuff with fun, and I realized when you're a leader, your whole goal is to manage change, because if you want the business to grow, it has to change. It cannot stay the same. If it stays the same, it doesn't grow.
Exactly.
And you want positive change, because you can have negative change where you're losing business and going under. That's the part you don't want. So actually, as a leader, you are in charge of making sure that change is happening in the direction you want it.
Yeah, I would say change and also progressing, because some leaders, they want to change for the sake of it, because they want to prove that they do something. I mean, so I mean, if you have the vision, you never know if it's the right or wrong vision, but it has to be there. Then it's just about people working towards that same vision. Okay, you need to change. You need to change to find a better road to that vision. But most often, if you have the right vision, you just need to eliminate hurdles to make it easier for the people to work towards that vision. I think that's one of the main responsibilities for a leader, just to stop reducing hurdles to make it easy for people to work, and then empower them to work towards that vision. So that's it's all about moving forward, for sure, and towards the vision.
Change is oftentimes unavoidable, and yes, it is important, but as leader you also have to do like a checklist. Is this change necessary? How is my niche faring? If I don't change, will I be behind the competition, etc.? You should always keep in touch with the specifics of your business.
Come on, let's not keep the pace, take our pace from the competition. If you're having a vision, you're competing with yourself and your vision.
True, but I know plenty of situations in which good businesses went bust in 2 years because the CEO got bored, because everything was principally autopilot, working great, and he decided to change the business.
Everybody was having fun.
Instead of doing like, if you want something new, no problem, start a new business, leave the old one going as is. Don't change something that works.
No, I agree, and I mean, you need to keep the goal and the vision in your sight all the time. So if change would take you closer to that vision, I think change is good. But sometimes change can take you further away from that vision.
Yes.
It's all about if you have the right vision or not, in a way.
The truth is that as a leader, if you're really good at leadership and you're empowering people, letting them do, it becomes really boring, because you have nothing to do all day, because people take care of business for you. And only from time to time, when something new happens or they don't have experience, they come and rely on your experience to help them proceed forward and make the vision come true. And it's true. It becomes, the more you're better as a leader, the less you work, and the more you have the temptation. Let's tweak it a little until you start destroying the system.
So you get bored.
It is. I will mention, because the book I read that influenced me most in my life, I actually read it as a 12-year-old, so it's a long time ago. It's a book from a guy called Jan Carlson. He was a CEO of Scandinavian Airlines.
Okay.
And his book, I'm not sure it can be found in English, but the translation or the title would be Tear Down the Pyramids. And it's basically to switch the whole part. So traditionally, you have the owner, the CEO on the top, and just a big pyramid of people under. So he wanted to turn down the pyramid to really empower all the people, and especially the frontline people. And basically, his biggest conclusion in the book is, as a great leader, you want to do everything to make yourself obsolete.
Yes, that's your job.
That's your job.
Yeah, that's your job. So, which is very few leaders dare to do that, because he says, I mean, the biggest success for a leader is that you can leave your job and nothing will happen in the company. But that's tough as a leader, because you want to be seen and as a strong and the leader. I mean, but empowering people, if you manage to make yourself completely obsolete, then you have succeeded as a leader.
It's a question of self-worth and self-appreciation.
Yeah.
Because people who are good at what they do and they know they're good at what they do, they never worry about having a job or having a career. So they never worry about getting that. They want input, outside input that tells them you are going the right direction, but that's the only reason they want it, not an ego kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Other people, they're worried that they might lose their job, never get one as good. So they want to make sure that this business will be nothing without me. You cannot go on. I am irreplaceable.
Yeah, and as you said it very good. It's all about ego. So you really have to not put the ego first. I mean, you have to put the company first. But the ego is, in my opinion, the thing that destroys most companies and destroys most leaderships.
Most relationships.
Yeah.
And this is advice that should be given out, is like, if you have a manager inside your company and you see him, his department is producing and is growing and it's exceeding expectations, and the manager isn't doing anything,
give him a raise.
Don't be stupid and fire him, because soon enough you're going to find out that actually, because he worked a lot, he got the department to that level, and without him it's going all back to how it was, and you're going to be like, why?
Exactly. And it's unfortunately, it's not, in many cases, many leaders don't have this philosophy, in my opinion. But
and not just managers. There's plenty of examples with engineers and
of course,
normal employees that you look and it looks like he's wasting time. He's reading his own books and browsing them, but then you look at the numbers of his department and say, we're exceeding production, everything is doing great, we have no waste, and then you think like, there's something there and I can't put my finger on it.
Usually sometimes you get greedy and says, if you would work like more, we could get more out of it.
Yeah, that happens also. We forget that they're human beings, like you're expected to do as much as necessary for us to be profitable as a company. Anything more is welcomed, but we shouldn't expect more than
what is fair.
Exactly. And that's very short-sighted thinking as well. I mean, long term, if we go back, people need to be happy and have fun.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And I also wanted to add one more thing. You said the importance of making things fun. Which I agree, but I also wanted to add like a small blueprint. Make fun the things that are good and beneficial, and make the things that aren't beneficial, make them boring.
Okay. That's good.
It's like I heard this from a child psychologist who said, there isn't a person on earth who doesn't know that alcohol is bad if you ingest too much or too often, if you abuse it. Okay, the problem is, especially for young people, it looks fun. So if you just make it look boring and stupid, they will naturally stay away from it rather than forcing them.
So true. And there, I mean, there've been some good marketing guys promoting alcohol, making it very fun, among other things. So definitely.
Moving on, can you share with us the top 3 leadership tips you have for aspiring leaders?
I think number one, I touched base on it before, but it's so important in my opinion. The number one is to have a clear vision, to really define the vision, believe in it, so strongly believe in it and see it so extremely clear that you dream about it every night, and it makes you wake up every morning with a big smile and full of energy. So have a clear vision. The second one,
sorry for interrupting. Are you dreaming about one-to-one tribe at night?
Yes, I am. I don't know.
Just checking.
I am, but really.
So what's the vision behind it? Like, how would you describe the vision behind it?
The vision is we really want to collect and gather the biggest expert in the world when it comes to healthy and sustainable living. And to use that to create a ripple effect, because each expert we recruit, they have a huge followers on social media and podcasts, etc., and they can reach more people. So for us, by gathering a few hundred experts, that creates a ripple effect because each expert has so many followers and overlapping. So with that, we can create a ripple effect, and we can really affect millions of people around the world to live healthier, which is good for them, which is very important. But for them to live healthier in the way we promote health is also to make living more sustainable. And by doing this, we will make an impact in the world to make the world a bit more sustainable with healthier people. So that's our vision. It's clear cut.
Really good vision.
Yeah. It's fun, and that's why it becomes nice dreams to dream about one-to-one tribe at night, because it's really it's not about money, it's not about building a unicorn. It's actually about fulfilling something really good and needed in the world. That's a vision.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the second
one, the second one is to, as a leader, when you have your strong vision that you believe deep down in your heart, you need to know how to communicate it. And some leaders are excellent communicators, some are less good communicators. I don't think that really matters, but if you're a less good communicator, you have to learn how to communicate it, which everyone can do if you believe in your vision. Because to talk about something that really touches your heart, everyone can learn how to do that. And what you need to learn how to communicate your vision is for everyone to understand it. So, for example, in work class, I made sure that the vision was understood from everyone in the organization, from the accounting department to club managers to cleaners. So if you stop a cleaner in work class, they know the vision. And the vision of work class was to radically transform the lives of people in Romania. So it's easy to communicate it in a way. It's more difficult to communicate for everyone and absolutely everyone in the company to understand it. So because it cannot be too sophisticated, it cannot be too simplistic, because then only some people in the organization would understand it. So to really work as a leader to find that sweet spot, how to communicate your vision in a language that really everyone understands in the company.
And number 3?
Number 3 is when you have done that, you sit back and relax.
So the best number 3.
Yeah, no, and that's we touched base on it early in this podcast. But to really trust yourself, trust your team, trust the people that you're leading, sit back and relax, really get down on the floor and interact with the people that you're leading, so you can sense if everyone is working towards the same vision. If they're not, use feedback to help them get back towards the vision. So feedback is so extremely important, to not only for the leader to give to all of the people in the company, but for all in the company to give each other. Because if everyone understands the vision, when someone is working intentionally or not intentionally on a road that is not straight to the vision, everyone else will give feedback to bring that person back on the right path towards the vision. And as a leader, that's your job, and as well as eliminate any obstacles, anything that makes it hard for people to work towards the vision. So to sit back, relax, get to know your organization, use feedback and that will always happen, because no matter how good you can communicate the vision, people always understand it a little bit differently.
Yes.
Maybe even yourself as a leader, and you could be wrong. So feedback is such a good tool to really implement an organization for everyone in a nice way, to kind of put everyone on the same path to the vision. And if you do this, then it's just a matter of if you have the right vision or not. And that you never know. That's the bet you have when you run your company.
Yes.
Either this vision will work or not. Either you're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
But if you fail, then you had the wrong
Get a new vision.
Yeah, exactly. It was not some other factors.
You can never know if you're doing the right thing or the right steps. Looking forward, it's always looking back. Aha, I was right.
Yeah. But if you really believe in it and it's from all of your heart, I mean, usually that vision is the right one. But sometimes not, and that's life.
That's right. And I like the idea of having constant feedback, because sometimes you see in organizations it's planned feedback once a year, the specific date you get some feedback, and no, it has to be constant each day, each week, each month.
Yeah, and I don't believe in scheduled or organized feedback. This has to be deep rooted in the culture of the company. It should come because you need to give feedback right at the spot.
No, the schedule one, it's schedule lying. It's not scheduled feedback.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a scheduled meeting at 1 p.m., but at 11 your employee comes, boss, urgent information. No, come back at 1. Boss, but the factory is burning. No, you will let me know at 1.
Yes, exactly.
We have our hour, we will keep to the schedule. That is, if we still have a building.
Yeah, exactly. No, so feedback has to be spontaneous and immediate. Everything if the factory is burning, or if someone is just, using the wrong language, doesn't fit to the culture, or whatever it is. So, and that's an extremely powerful thing if you implement it well in an organization, that it's deep rooted in the culture. Then that feedback is just, and if everyone believes in and knows the vision, then that feedback will just kind of will make the leader obsolete in the end.
Yeah. So what did you do like at World Class to make sure you got constant feedback from all the people there?
We, through education, so we had constant education and workshops in feedback, so feedback training. I actually took in a guy from H&M. H&M has a really good feedback structure, educational program, and culture. So
huge company.
Yeah. And so I know they were best in what I heard in feedback. So I took in a guy that implemented the feedback structure and culture in H&M, and we did the same thing in World Class. So it's all about constant education, and then it kind of takes care and keep, follow up with it all the time.
Yes.
So and using existing employees to educate new employees about the feedback culture we have in the company, and it's so much about the biggest obstacle we had when in World Class when we started implementing a feedback culture was that it was a fear. I mean, it took so long time for me to implement a culture where anyone in the company can come up to me and give me feedback.
And I tell you, like, you're doing a shitty job.
Yeah, I beg them, give me feedback. I love feedback because it helps me improve. But you're the boss. I cannot give you feedback. And when they fear giving me feedback, they have fear to give their manager feedback, their co-workers.
Yes.
And feedback was perceived in the beginning in work as criticizing. And it's not about criticizing, it's about helping other people. So a big part in World Class was to make people understand that feedback is the biggest gift you can give and to receive. And when they got that, they opened up. But it's a long process, and it's a never-ending process. You just keep on educating, reminding people, lead with a good example to give feedback to other people, and ask for feedback. So it's like a living microorganism in the company. It has to be a big part of the culture.
Yes, it's not something easy to do.
It's really hard when you speak with people for them not to take it personal.
Yeah,
it's really hard. And usually whenever somebody says, listen, don't take this personally, usually they will give it to you very personally.
Yeah, it is. But there are what I learned, and I learned so much when I brought in my friend from H&M. There are so really great techniques. I mean, it's an art skill to give feedback and to receive feedback.
So what would be like a successful formula for giving feedback?
Also, you can say his name if you want, so you can give a shout out to your friend.
Yeah,
he's doing great.
Niklas Kling, he's a Swedish guy, lives in Bucharest, Romania. He's no longer working for H&M, but he was leading our feedback training in World Class, and it was just we learned so much. So the biggest number, there's so many steps and techniques and everything, but the number one is that it's a gift. It's a gift to give feedback and to receive feedback. So you need to give it with open hands and receive it with open hands.
The mind shift is important.
Yeah. So it's really about helping people, and everyone likes to help people and to get help. So and then we had a 3-day education for all the people when we implemented it, and then we had a follow-up education. But those 3 days was just, there's so many techniques about it, because when I heard as well, feedback. Yeah, I was thinking, okay, that's something you give your opinion to another person. That person will most likely take as a critique.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are so many good techniques. I mean, it's a well-studied area. So there's some cool stuff out there when it comes to feedback.
Awesome. And I like the fact that you also had follow-up, because that's important. You don't do just as an event.
Yeah.
Trainings inside the company, you do. You have the event and then you have the follow-ups. If you don't have the follow-ups, don't spend the money on the event because it will have no impact.
No, absolutely no impact. Well,
it will be better just to throw a party for all the employees,
socializing rather
and have them socialize and have fun. It will be money better spent that way than actually have just a training event and no follow-up to it.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's so true. I mean, I got a great feedback in work class because I'm a person, probably understood this, but very vision driven with a lot of ideas. Maybe the best feedback I got from someone in work class was that, Michael, just stop. You're throwing out so many projects, so many ideas. They're all great, but we cannot keep up. I mean, it's too much. So that's an example of a great feedback. I said, okay, that's very cool. And so we decided to focus mostly on feedback. To scrap most of other trainings, and I got very impatient because but we can do this and this and this and this, and that will take us really quick to our vision, towards our vision. You will never reach the vision, but you will move faster. But so yeah, as a leader, you also have to be really open to feedback from your staff. I mean, that's super important to hear because yeah, that's the most important feedback you can get.
Yes,
it is.
And Michael, probably you read a lot, and you also already gave like the book that had the most impact on you, but you said like probably it's not in English. Do you have an English book that had a great impact on you?
I would say there's so many. I like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People of Covey. His name is, I forget the first name. I think that's a great book for your personal development and your focus. That's kind of one of my Bibles, I must say, because it's really everything from focus on what is you can affect, what you can have an impact on, to your personal management of your work, in your personal life, if you want to change your lifestyle. So that's one of the better ones, I would say, that you find in English.
Awesome.
And if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
I would say LinkedIn is always good. I'm not super active there, but there's plenty of information. Otherwise, email me or give me a call, the traditional way. I always like to speak to people. So if you have something to say, my email and phone is always open. To follow One-to-One Tribe, we have one-to-one-tribe.com. It's one-to-one in numbers. And also our One-to-One Tribe Instagram account is a great way to get inspiration about healthy living and sustainable living. So but personally, LinkedIn is a good way.
Perfect. Yes. And I will link the resources so people can look up the show notes and get in touch with you.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice conversation.
Bye.
Bye.
That was today's episode. Tune in daily. Rate, like, subscribe, and share, please. Oh, you can find further info and materials in the show notes on techyleadership.com, including links to the guest book recommendations.